All right, picture this. It's late, you're a vet, and you've just clocked out of a brutal 12-hour shift. The clinic's finally quiet, you can hear the rain tapping against the window, and all you can think about is getting home. You know, just a totally normal end to a totally normal day.
You've just finished patching up Mrs. Higgins' dog. You've locked up the front and flipped that little sign to closed. And you get that feeling, that little moment of satisfaction, right? A job well done. This is your world. Fixing broken paws, giving shots, telling people their corgi needs to lay off the treats. It's simple, it's predictable, and it's safe.
And then, bam, just like that, everything shatters. You look up startled, and there's this guy at your door. His eyes are wide, he's soaked to the bone from the rain, and he is definitely not holding a sick parakeet. He's holding up his friend, who's just slumped over his shoulder, bleeding. There's a towel on his stomach, and it's completely soaked in red.
Okay, so let's pause here and just break this down. This is that moment, you know? That crossroads that shows up in stories. The kind that rips your normal life to shreds with an impossible demand. It's where one single choice can send you down a path you never, ever saw coming. So your first reaction, of course, is to say no. You point down the street. The hospital's just a few blocks away. They have real doctors. You try to explain, I'm just a vet. But the man at the door, he just shakes his head. And then he pulls a pistol from his jacket, and he taps it, just once, softly, against the glass. And in that one sound, you know you're going to unlock the door.
So let's be really clear about what's happening here. This isn't a plea for help. It's a command. And it's got a threat hanging heavy in the air right behind it. Your quiet, clean clinic is suddenly a mess of mud and blood, and you're staring at a bullet wound with a gun to your head, metaphorically speaking. There is no real choice here. Saying no is just not an option.
So you have to scramble. You have to improvise. You've never ever done this on a person. You grab a tranquilizer that's meant for a horse and you're frantically trying to do the math in your head, just praying you don't kill him. You dig in, you find the damage, and you start stitching him up with this thick blue nylon, the exact same stuff you used on a Great Dane last week.
The whole time, the gunman just watches. Not a word, not a twitch. The second you tie off that last stitch, he steps forward, pulls out a fat envelope, and just tosses it onto the guy's chest. "Keep your mouth shut," he says. And with that, he hauls his friend out the back door and vanishes into the storm.
And just like that, you're alone. Just you, the blood on your floor, and an envelope packed with $5,000. So what do? I mean, your gut is screaming to call the cops. But then you think about the bills for the clinic piling up, your daughter's college fund, and you remember the look in that gunman's eyes. The kind of eyes that don't forget a face.
You clean the floor, you hide the money, and you tell yourself it was a one-time thing, a crazy, one-off event. But you know what? It never is. That one decision, the choice to stay quiet, that's the first step onto a very, very slippery slope.
Sure enough, 3 nights later, your phone rings at 2 in the morning. Another patient. This time, double the pay. You should just hang up, you know you should. But you look over at that overdue tuition bill on your kitchen counter, and you give him the address. Before you know it, you're just leaving the back door unlocked on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the money, wow, the money really starts to pile up.
And this is where the mind games really begin. You know, the rationalization. You start to put your patients into 2 boxes. Yeah, they're the dangerous ones, the guys with cold eyes and gunshot wounds. But you tell yourself that you're mostly helping the other kind, the desperate ones. Construction workers with no insurance, single moms who can't afford to miss a shift at work. See? You're helping people the system forgot.
You pay off your debts. You buy some new, top-of-the-line equipment for the clinic. You even put a big deposit down for your daughter's first year of college. And with every person you patch up, you start to feel, well, you start to feel good at it. Not proud exactly, but capable, needed. And that feeling right there, that feeling of being in control, that's your first big mistake.
Because one night, you finish up and head out to the parking lot. And you don't even see the black van hiding in the darkest corner of the lot. Not until it's way, way too late. This is where it all goes to the next level.
2 men just grab you. They move so quietly, so efficiently, you just know they're pros. A bag goes over your head, your wrists are zip-tied, and you're shoved into the van. When they finally pull the bag off, you're in some kind of high-tech medical room. It looks like a real operating theater, and there's someone on the table. And you know who it is instantly. Everybody in the city would. He's the guy who owns the docks, the unions, the cops, the man who runs everything in the shadows, the big boss. and he looks like he's about to die.
You try to protest. You tell them this is insane. He needs a real trauma surgeon. But the man in the expensive suit next to you is just completely unfazed. And what he says next is just so cold, so logical. For them, it's simple. You've been keeping mammals alive for months now. This is just one more mammal. A guard puts his hand on his gun. And again, the choice is made for you.
So there you are, hand trembling, looking down at this man who's caused so much pain in the city. And you think, I could just wait, let a complication happen, a little slip. No one would ever know. You could end it, right here, right now. But then, an image flashes through your mind. It's your daughter. You see her smile, you can almost hear her laugh. And that's it. That's all it takes. This isn't about good versus evil anymore. It's not about right or wrong. It's about her. And so, you get to work. And you work for hours. You're faster, more skilled than you ever dreamed you could be. You actually do it. You save his life. But as you're about to find out, surviving this night is going to cost you everything. You're done. You're completely empty, just hollowed out. You pull off your gloves and you look at the man in the suit and say, I want to go home now. I want to see my daughter. He doesn't even blink. He just looks at you and says, soon.
He pushes a button on a small panel on the wall, and the glass walls of the room, which were clear a second ago, they frost over. They turn a milky white. You can't see out. You spin around to the door. You bang on it, but it's been sealed shut. Nothing. You're trapped.
You hear a voice, the crime lord. He's awake. He tells you a gift like yours is wasted on house pets. He points to a corner of the room you hadn't noticed before, where a bed is neatly made, with a desk and a stack of medical books. He says he's been looking for someone like you. And your daughter? Oh, don't worry about her. She'll be taken care of. She'll have everything she could ever want. She probably won't even notice you're gone.
And that's the final, brutal twist, isn't it? You thought all those choices you were making were putting you in control, giving you freedom, but you weren't earning your way out. You were just proving how valuable you were. Every step you took wasn't a step toward freedom. It was a step deeper into a cage. The whole time you spent your life saving animals, you never realized you were becoming one yourself. And that really leaves you wondering, at what point does the fight for survival become its own kind of prison?